All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today is dealing with rejecting the whore. Okay, rejecting the whore. And the whore, all right, that we're speaking of is, all right, the whore, all right, Babylon the Great. Okay, the mother of harlots, the scriptures speak about, all right, the mistress, okay, of witchcraft, as the scriptures speak about, okay, and this wisdom, one thing about this wisdom puts us on game. That's why the scriptures, are so potent, because it's so relevant to real time. That's why the scriptures is known as what? The bread of life. As we digest, the scriptures with our mind, okay, we begin to become nourished on how to live. Okay, we get the nutrients for how to live and how to move and how to operate. And the Bible is full of game. Okay, there's needed. Okay, there's vital, especially in these times. Okay, when we live in the most violent, grimiest, vile, proud, deceitful society, or the Bible gives us, all right, the one up, understanding the scriptures, all right, through the Holy Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, it gives us a one up, okay, until we know what to avoid, we know what to be tapped into, all right, we know what to stay away from, okay, we understand balance, okay, we understand how to be subtle, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Okay, so the Bible is full of instructions for daily living, man. Okay, mindset, okay, discipline. All right, so this is the book of life. These are the words of life, man. And I'm reading out of the Living Bible, okay, paraphrase, because this Bible, is living. Okay, these are living words. Okay, that's why we go into these things and we can relate it, all right, to real time, all right, scenarios, man. Real time, okay, society. All right. So when you go here to the book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 1, it says, "Follow my advice, my son. Always keep it to mind and stick to it. Obey me and live." Okay? Obey me and live. And this is Yahweh Bashem Al Shai speaking to his people, begging them to obey him and live. The prophets are out here day for day telling our people, obey the Lord and live. Okay, obey the Lord and tap into immortality, man. Okay, obey the Lord, all right, and be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. Okay, obey Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, and rule over the earth forever, man, in righteousness, man. Okay, so we're constantly telling our people obey the Lord and live, man, because you're really living when you're in rulership, when your nation is in power. That's when you're living. Okay, we haven't experienced life under another man's rulership. This has been captivity. Okay, some have more than others in captivity, but it's still captivity, man. We're captives. Okay, we haven't really experienced life, man. Okay, but under the rulership of Yahweh Shai, we're going to live. Okay, and there's an obedience that's required, all right, to be delivered, okay, and be reserved to be a part of this rulership that Yahweh Shai is coming, bringing to the earth, man. Okay, it says, obey me and live. Guard my words as your most precious possession, man. And the understanding of this word is the most valuable thing that we can have. Okay, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of our time and the treasure of their salvation, man. Okay, because living by this word, having this word, especially when this place collapsed, having this word in us when this place collapsed, that's what's going to make men more precious than gold. Okay, being built up in this word before the collapse, Having this word in us, being guided by this word, this understanding, the instructions, like I said, the discipline, okay, the patience that this word, equips us with, all right, the mindset, the tools that this word equips us with, that's going to be a rare thing in the earth, man. That's going to be the rarest thing in the earth is a man that has this word in him that the Lord is dealing with in the time of chaos, man. Okay? That's why now we'll sacrifice and be, the undesirables. Okay? We'll be the outcasts. We'll be the ones looked over. No one's checking for it. We'll be that. We that's cool. Okay? Because that gives us more time to tap into this. Okay? Our liberty now goes into this, man. Okay? You see? Getting clout and, being that guy in this world. Why, this place is collapsing. But when this place collapses, none of that's going to matter, man. Okay? No one's going to care about, Mayweather's car collection. Okay? Jay-Z album sales, Beyonce country. See, that's not going to even factor in when this place collapses, man. So the most precious thing that we can have, okay, is an understanding of this word, man. And the spirit to be obedient to this word, man, having faith in this word, okay, because that's going to determine our decision makings in the time of chaos is our faith in this word, man. Okay, and it says, write them down and also keep them deep within your heart, which is our mind. Love wisdom like a sweetheart. Make her a beloved member of your family. Okay? Love her like a sweetheart and make her a beloved member of the family. Okay? Because wisdom, as the scripture says, wisdom shall meet us in every thought. Wisdom, is like, dwelling with wisdom. It's like we move wisdom into our house, man. Okay? Wisdom dwells with us now, man. All right? We're becoming familiar with her. You see? Go ahead. And it reads on and says, let her hold you back from visiting. This is the point. Let her hold you back, which is restraint. Remember, wisdom, all right, supplies restraint, discipline, okay, discernment. These are the tools that wisdom supplies. Okay, that's why it says, let her hold you back, which is restraint, from visiting a prostitute, from listening to her flattery, man. And who is that prostitute that is speaking of? America, man. Okay, and the flattery, okay, that comes with America, man. All right, as they present, this American dream, as they present, these different cultures and ideologies with all this flattery. Feminism, what happens? They flatter, they use flattery to the woman. They appeal to the woman's, ego and emotion. Okay, street culture, what did they do? They appealed to Jake's lower nature. Okay, it was real flattery. Then he put it on screen. He made it flattery, man. The American dream. Okay, he makes these things flattery. He presents these things with a lot of flattery, man. Okay, and that's the mind like of a prostitute. That's why the modern woman in America, they know how to manipulate with flattery as if you're getting some amazing deal. That's how prostitutes move. They flatter you as if you're, they're really into you, as if you're, they world circle around you. Okay, but they run the same game with everyone, man. Okay, it's flattery, and that's what America has done in the earth. It has run this same game throughout the earth. Okay, with flattery. All right, and it has caused these nations to err. It has called the people in America to err. Okay, but this wisdom teaches us, it holds us back from the flattery of the whore. Because it appeals to the lower nature, it appeals to your ego, it appeals to your emotions. All right, it appeals to what you call allure. You see, and that's why you go here to prove. All right, the scriptures speak about this prostitute. Okay, America is this infamous prostitute in the scriptures, man. Okay, you go here to the book of Revelation. All right, chapter 17. Okay, and you read. Okay, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 3. It says, "So the angel took me into the wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet animal." This is, all right, that woman, okay, is America. And the scarlet animal, that beast represents Esau's power structures. Okay, you go into, the 7 head and 10 horns. Okay, it represents Esau's, all right, dominant, governments that he has over history. The French, okay, the Spanish, Germania Major, Germania Minor, okay, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Britons, okay, and those 10 horns goes into the vassals, okay, mainly of Rome, all right, and America is the horde that rides this beast, okay. America is the little horn that emerged, from pagan Rome. As pagan Rome was revived during the Renaissance period, and America, became a superpower, all right, within this, this new Roman Empire. All right, she's the whore that rides this beast. Okay, and it says, so the angel. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, one of the 7 angels who had, this is Revelation 17:1, says, one of the 7 angels who had poured out the plagues came over and talked with me. Come with me, he said, I will show you what is going to happen to the notorious prostitute who sits upon the many waters of the world, which is the people. The kings of the world have had immoral relations with her, and the people of the earth have been made drunken by the wine of her immorality. The wine of her immorality, man. Okay? So the leaders of the world, because the elites have prostituted America out to all these different nations to influence these nations in wickedness, man. To make these nations immoral. Okay? To make these nations lewd and vile, man. Okay? Which is a rebellion against Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. But the elites have pimp America out to all these different nations, man. And America comes with their flattery. Okay, they know how to soften these nations up because these nations enjoy, trade in the American market, man. Okay, these nations love, all right, getting rich off the American market. But what do they have to do? They have to accept the influence of the whore, you know, to get allowed into, okay, or this American market, different global markets, man. A lot of the world banking systems are ran by who? America, man. So these nations, they become rich off dealing with the whore. Okay? You see? So she knows how to bring that flattery, man. All right, but you gotta drink down that wine, man, which is the wine. What you go into it says the wine of immorality. All right, but when you keep going into it, it says, so the angel took me in the spirit into the wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet animal that had 7 heads and 10 horns, written all over with blasphemies against the Most High. The woman whore, all right, the woman wore purple and scarlet clothing and beautiful jewelry made of gold and precious gems and pearls, and held it in her hand a golden goblet full of obscenities, man, which abominations, man. Okay, and America has enjoyed royal status, man. America's a royal whore. Okay, and all it has enjoyed, royal status in the earth, man. All right, that's why America has, the authority to tamper with all these different governments in the earth, man. America enjoys imperial status in the earth. Okay, their position of king of kings in the earth, man. America enjoys that status. Okay, and with that, they've influenced the earth in complete wickedness, man. Okay, verse 5, and this is the point. It says, a mysterious caption was written on her forehead, Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and of idol worship everywhere around the world. All right, let's read that again. A mysterious caption was written on her forehead: Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and of idol worship everywhere around the world. Okay? So this prostitute that this wisdom is keeping us from is the philosophies and the doctrines, okay, of America, which are all rooted in idolatry, and Satanism, man. You know, where they use flattery like a prostitute, man. It plays on your low nature like a prostitute. The way, you'll see a prostitute wear particular things where it instantly connect to your low nature as a man. Okay, and it's all to entice you, all right, for her to benefit, all right, off you in whatever way she can. Okay, and this is what America does. All right, America is this great prostitute, man. Okay, that has influenced the earth in complete wickedness. That's why you go here to the book of Revelation. Well, let's get this in Nahum. Nahum 3. And get to the point. Start at 4. It's the book of Nahum, chapter 3, and verse 4. It says, all this because Nineveh sold herself to the enemies of the Most High. All right, now we know this chapter, Nahum was prophesying during the time, of Nineveh, which Nineveh was a very lewd empire, especially towards its end. His last king, was infamous for being a cross-dresser. Okay? He was just a lewd, bugged out nigga, man. Okay? And the Lord, destroyed Nineveh, by using, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and the Medes teamed up, to take down the Assyrians, man. But it was all prophesied, all right? And Assyria, all right, had a very, wicked influence on the earth, okay? With this idolatry, man, okay? And America is all these wicked kingdoms coming back: Assyrian, Egypt, okay, Babylon, okay, Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? They all rolled in one, okay? The Roman Empire, the Greco-Roman Empire. America is all these empires rolled in one, okay? In the spirit, it draws. That's why it says the mistress of witchcraft, which means the female, the feminine way of saying master. Okay, America has mastered all the ancient witchcraft of all these different empires, man. Okay, and it says, all this because Nineveh sold herself to the enemies of the Most High, the beautiful and faithless city, mistress of deadly charms, man. So the America had that charm, it made these nations, indulge, okay, in that wine. Okay? And that's the spirit of American women. They know how to put that charm and that flattery in the game to make you feel like they know how to paint a false reality, man. Okay? That's the spirit of America. And that's the spirit even of the women of America. They know how to paint that false reality, man. Okay? They're a very manipulative spirit. Okay? Let's go here. And it says, the beautiful and faithless city, mistress of deadly charms, enticed the nations with her beauty, then taught them all to worship her false gods, bewitching people everywhere. The same account in Revelation, man. It's speaking of America, man. Okay, bewitching people everywhere, man. The scriptures speak about America being destroyed, and it speaks about all the things that was found in America, all these different imports, from these other countries that come to America. Okay, but then also spoke about the souls of men. Okay, America, all right, possesses the souls of men in the earth, man. All right, this American way, this American adventure that's presented to the earth. America projects itself to the earth. Okay, like a prostitute, because a prostitute, you go into the word, it means to stand before, to present yourself. Okay, in America, there's no one that presents himself more to the earth than America, man. Okay, so when you go here, Lord will, we of this number. All right, when you go to Revelation 14, this is my first time reading in the Living Bible paraphrase. But when you go here to Revelation 14 and 1, it says, Then I saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and with him were 144,000 who had his name and his father's name. All right, so the 144,000 had the name of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Shai, and his father's name. Okay, because the 144,000, those first fruits, all right, was those spirits created, okay, and chosen by they was created by Yahweh Shai, all right, was he was instructed by the Heavenly Father to create these spirits, and the Heavenly Father gave those spirits to Yahweh Shai as a possession from the beginning. Okay, that's why Yahweh Shai, ye have been said what Yahweh Shai said, ye are they that have been with me, all right, from the beginning. You're going to go witness, all right, for you're going to be my witness in the earth because you was with me from the beginning. Okay, and you speaking about before the earth was, man. Okay, he knew the spirits he was coming to teach to, man. All right, and those men were predestined by Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, they come in that authority of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. So they're sealed with the names of the Son, Yahweh Shai, and the name of the Father. Okay, read this again. Revelation 4. Oh, Salaki. Revelation 14 and 1 said, Then I saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and with him were 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a sound from heaven like the roaring of a great waterfall or the rolling of mighty thunder. It was the singing of a choir accompanied by harps. Okay? You see? And it's going to go into this choir. The tremendous choir, 144,000 strong, sang a wonderful new song in front of the throne of the Most High and before the 4 living beasts and the 24 elders. And no one could sing this song except those 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth, man. Okay, so hey, the prophets are like a choir singing a new song before Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. We're performing before our power. Okay, singing this new song, and this is a pleasant, all right. It's a pleasant, tone to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, the new song, the kingdom, all right. That wasn't talked about. See, this kingdom wasn't talked about. Christianity didn't talk about this kingdom. Islam didn't talk about this kingdom, this rulership. Okay, the ancestors. Okay, whatever niggas into now, it didn't talk about this kingdom. He saw, all his prestigious schools and colleges. Well, guess what? They didn't talk about this kingdom because it was only for the 144,000. All right, to sing this song. All right, was the prophets are amongst that number of the 144,000 singing this song today. Okay, and they're the only ones that can learn this song in its perfection, man. Okay, verse and we teach it out, to the believers. Okay, because who should know the curriculum the best, the teacher or the student. It's the teacher. The teacher is a master of the curriculum. That's why he's able to teach it and break it down to the students. You see? And it says, for they are spiritually, it's the point, for they are spiritually undefiled, pure as virgins. Showing it's not talking about literal virgins. It said they are spiritually undefiled. Okay? Which means we as we've been born again, that we woken up. Okay? We're not defiled with the whore, with the doctrines of the whore. Okay? We haven't went and tampered with the whore, man. Okay? You see, we've learned to avoid, as scriptures say in Proverbs 7, to hold us back, all right, from the prostitute and her flattery words, man. Okay? So there's a remnant, that will awaken, all right, and never turn back to the flattery, okay, of the American whore, man. Okay? And it says, for they are spiritually undefiled, pure as virgins, following the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been purchased from among the men of the earth as a consecrated offering to the Most High and to the Lamb. You see, we've been separated. We got a separate mission from everybody else, man. You see, people, their day to day, that's their mission. These jobs, these careers, their ventures, this is their mission. We tap into that, all right, to get daily bread. But this is the mission. This is the Lord separated us from that, man. We still have to, operate in this world and do what we got to do to get our daily bread. But we've been separated for the real mission, man, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay? And it says, no falsehood can be charged against them. They are blameless, man, going to no guile. Because we're not here, all right, for falsehood, man. We only speak truth, man, and we teach it as balanced as we, can teach it, man, with humility, with sincerity, okay? And it all goes back to the wisdom, that's navigating us, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shah, man. We're being navigated in this thing, man, to be without blame, all right? So, Lord will, you brothers and you sisters edify till next time I say shalom.